So let's continue by kind of making these uh, spots, kind of follow this curve here. Since we already have the curve, we can use it as, let me first turn off some of these. We can use it as the curve deformer for this object. But first we need to add an array. Let's use, I don't know how many, space them out. Let's 350. And going to select the curve. We're going to use this curve. It's called right now plane 001 because I got it from this plane. So what I'm going to do is first rename it so that I can easily find it. So I'll call this support array, and then select this array, and then we need to add a curve deformer and select it from here. Can see how the curve is being added. So to position it on the curve itself, I'm just going to select the curve, Shift S, cursor selected, so that the cursor is at the position of the curve, and then position this to the cursor, then cursor selection to cursor, and that should snap this to the rail. You might need to rotate yours to get the right axis of rotation. Using these planes, these axes here, or rotate them on these axes like that. So I also want to push them to the wall, so I'll just grab them and push them to the wall like so. Maybe I also need to scale this a bit and push it down a bit. Then on the X, maybe scale this up again. Yeah, think we are good. So yeah, we're pushing some of the detail into the wall. I can see from here. I don't like that, so because it took us a lot of time to do. So let's not just do that. What I can do, I maybe just go into edit mode and just reduce the size of this handle here. Can also space them, increase the spacing here a bit. So select this and go to the array, increase the spacing a bit. Maybe that's too much. Something like that. So we want the array count to so there to end there. So I'll apply. Now I'll reduce the array count to, let's see, 25. Okay, maybe we need more. A little more, like that. Now again, if you want this to go up and up, I would just need also we need the inside rail. So for that, I can just select this curve, duplicate it, but before I do that, I want this to also have an array so that it can be continuous up to the top. So for that, I will just add give it its own array. Let's try the Z-axis again. The rotation of our array here is a bit off, so we would need a control object. Let's try this here, offset the rotation, and let's increase the Z offset like that. Great. And now we just need to increase the count here like so. Then for this here, we can do the same. Just copy the array or add another array in the Z axis. Like that. Again, we need to select a control object like so. Increase. Let's make sure we get the right offset, which we are not getting. Let me see what's going on here. Does seem like this array is being flipped up just a bit, so let's try a different control object here and see. If I choose this, yeah, they're being flipped for some reason. But these are handle support bars, so I'm not going to worry too much about them. I'm just going to use this offset here. So where they go missing, I'll just be okay with that. So let's see, where should they start? They start around it seems that they, after some point, they start rotating. The rotation starts, we get a weird rotation. So I think that could be because of this curve here. So if we go to the curve settings, there is a twist method. So you can see it affects how these are rotated. Have tangent, which messes up quite a lot of things. We have minimum, which I think is what we should actually now see how this is being rotated a different way. We have Z up, which I think is what we want. Let's see. Yeah, I think we are going to be using that, and just add another array. I think you can try this with an object offset. Okay, they're also being pushed in for some reason. Let me try applying scale here. Push them. Okay, they're being pushed out as we go onto the inside, and I don't want to add another control object for this. Let me just offset them directly, and so that we don't have too many control objects. And then for the inside rail, I can just duplicate this, go to top mode, scale it only in the just first going to turn off this offset here, scale this in the X and Y plane. As you can see here, we're getting it. obviously this might mess up a few things, so let's just see what we have messed up. I think we're good. I think, yeah, we're good. So if you want to loop, if you want it to loop, you just add the offset and make sure you apply the scale so that it loops correctly. Just reposition my camera again. Now let's do some lighting so that we're looking at something interesting here. So for the lights, I guess we can start by adding these pictures here. Again, you can design them in any format you want. Just do something simple here. Give it a bevel, adding normals, and then soften them by adding auto smooth. Then make sure the limit method is set to angle. Reduce the bevel width just a bit. Let's see what other details I can add here. Do something like, just want to create something a bit interesting to look at. Scale this again, give it an array. Offset this a bit. Curve, we need to add our rail. Select that rail, cursor selected, selection to cursor. We need to rotate this, I think it's the x-axis by 90, and push them here. You can even, I think that's okay. Let's give them a bit of spacing. And then add another array to repeat this in the Z axis. And this will be the Y. think to make this a bit easier, what I'm going to do is edit this curve so that this loop here ends directly here, so that we can just use the array without using an object offset. That will make it a bit easier. So what I'm going to do is apply the array right now. Okay, so this is a curve object, so we can't really apply the array, but what we can do is let me see where this ends. So this ends here, so this and this first want to align them first. Like that. Now the rest of these points we can just repeat using an array. So set this to 1. Remove, I don't need the offset, just need this to match here. So we should match it around 0.9, 8, 8, 4, 8, 6, 8, 7, 8, 4, 8, 5, 8, matches at 8, 6, and so we can just increase the count here to as many as we want. And what we can do is to make these rails follow this better, we can just first remove the array, or actually we can just convert these to a curve, to a mesh. But before we do that, we need to make sure that we don't have any depth, bevel depth, so that it's just a straight curve like this. Also need these points to be connected. So what I'm going to do is first remove this array, convert this to a mesh, then add the array, because I want to have a continuous curve instead of this broken up curve using the array, so that everything is continuous and we can loop it as many times as we want. So have this, and then what else do I want to do? Add the array. I'll turn on merge here. So this is the end of the array, auto merge. And so I can do as many as I want, as long like that. And after that, apply this, then convert this back to a curve. Now, because our resolution is quite high, we don't really need to convert this into a spline type Bezier. Polygon would be okay. So now we can bring back our depth, and then this here. So let me go back. This should be rail. So we don't need this. Let me see, what don't we need? Yeah, we don't need this third array. And this array, and then let's see, apply scale, apply rotation, add the array, So it's kind of tilting again. That's because of this minimum, I think, this twist here. So set it to Z up. And now, instead of using two arrays, I can just increase the count of this, and this should repeat for as long as we want it to repeat. So let's do only 100, maybe 150. And same for this, for these handles. We don't need them. We don't need the second array anymore. We can just use the first one and just increase the array count, and that should match up everything as we want it to. And see, now we are looping, except that the camera, our animation is a bit maybe non-uniform. Let me position my camera correctly. Select the z-axis. I think we need this to be about here, and offset, what is this, the y position? No, the x position. Yeah, something like that. Again, maybe the z position can be offset a bit as well. Okay, so even for our curve here, we don't need this Bezier movement because it will mess up our loop. So I'll just change this to a vector, go back. Yeah, so there's a lot of things we need to do, like for the timing to get this to work correctly, but just reposition this just a bit. Yeah, so let's work on the lighting and make this look nice in part 3.